China is the leading exporter of watches in 2021 with over 400 million units sold worldwide. If you combine Switzerland, Germany, United States, and even throw in Hong Kong in the mix, they would still need 200 million units to catch up with what China is able to export. Suffice to say, China wants its figures thick and easy to get. However, Sea-Gull, with its new line of watches, is trying to break this mold and try to offer the best and premium watches money can buy, and that is thoroughly exemplified with this mechanical sports chronograph from Sea-Gull. Now the question is, will you be convinced to actually get one? This video is brought to you by Horology Story. Let's begin with a much needed history lesson. It all began in the 7th largest city in China, Tianjin. In 1955, 4 men were given 100 days by the Chinese government to create China's first watch manufacturer. This is how we got the Wuxing Watch Company, meaning 5-star. They developed military-issue watches for the country. In 1958, they rebranded to Wu Yi in celebration of the May 1st labor movement along with the new logo. In China's efforts to export wrist watches, the company used the name Dongfeng in 1966, meaning East Wind. As the company develops both mechanical and quartz watches, they rebranded once again to the now more recognizable name Sea-Gull. This one stuck ever since, and it made a mark worldwide. While many view Sea-Gull as a mass production brand, they are a legitimate horological manufacturer capable of producing high complication pieces such as minute repeaters and dual-axis tourbillons. It goes without saying that for pockets deeper than the Mariana Trench, Sea-Gull has something to offer. For us who must work from 9 to 5, a great-looking sports chronograph can do, such as this Sea-Gull Sports Chrono. The dimensions are very familiar with this one. The diameter is 43.5mm and the lug distance is 49.9. The lug width is a decent 22mm, which is 2mm more than my preference. The thickness is 13.5mm, just thick enough for your typical mechanical chronograph. This one is using a manufacturer caliber ST1901 that beats at 21,000 beats per hour, has 22 joules, and has around 45 to 50 hours of power reserve. These are very nice specs that deserves some wood surfaces and candlelight ambiance to fully endear this piece to your eyes. But of course, it's your wrist that gets first dibs. Wrists like this familiar, hairy kind can pleasingly wear this mechanical beauty. It passes the eye test off the cuff with more to enjoy. This dial is one of the best I've seen done in this side of the world. It has a careful balance with its sub-registers. The branding is a bit oversized, but you're quickly pulled in with these neatly applied indexes. These indexes are pleasingly partially recessed in the rehaut, which has a very nice brushed texture. I love this contrast against the polished frames of each index. You can see this dimensionality in every angle. Zoom close on the subdials and you'll notice these well-defined radial surfaces for the register scales. This is a fantastic touch that elevates the aesthetics above other chronographs in the same price range. It also pops really well against the matte dial and the sunburst finish of the sub-registers. This maximizes the light play beautifully. All of this is aided by a very clear sapphire crystal in its AR coating. From this part of the watch, you can see how they managed to keep the costs down by using just one sapphire crystal instead of 2. The display case back uses a mineral glass. The bezel is also a source of pleasure with its clear numeral prints. The textures sets it apart from being a homage to the modern Daytona or the Zenith Chronomaster Sport. Its clean and pronounced chamfer also helps reduce the shape profile. The great aesthetic choices are also in full display with the bracelet finish. This has a reversed configuration as the polished parts are the outer links rather than the center. Another plus are the screw pins that make it very easy to resize the links. The clasp feels dated though, but at least it has these sturdy bridges. The case uses the same attention to the finish with its brushed surface spread all over the side. There are some more polished elements such as the crown guards, pushers, and crown. The Sea-Gull signature is firmly pressed on the crown that may fool some people that it's a different S-branded watch that hails from Japan. But there's no trickery in operating this manually wound chronograph. The non-threaded crown is pleasing to operate and the pushers are satisfying to push. It's highly likely you're pushing these chronograph pushers because it simply exists rather than actually timing your speed. But don't worry, we won't tell your friends about it. Your secret's safe with us. But Sea-Gull's valuable secret is the movement inside. This is Sea-Gull's own caliber that was based on the Venus chronograph platform. During the golden age of mechanical chronographs, there were three main calibers: Lemania, Valjoux, and Venus. When Venus needed the money to fund their caliber development, they tried selling these blueprints of the Venus caliber 175 to the Soviets. When it was rejected, it eventually got bought by the Indonesian Watch Company and modified it heavily for their production. This may all sound like the spy novel origin story of a syndicate that vowed to rule the world, but the real diabolical issue here is that many people think that this is a mere clone of the Venus movement. That is far from the truth. This current iteration, the ST1901, is a real 22 jewel in-house caliber, both engineering-wise and by legality. Sea-Gull owns both arms of the argument. Priced at $600, it sells just over the affordable microbrand standards, but sells well under any mechanical chronograph out there. Add the fact that you're getting an in-house caliber movement, and the value proposition is really hard to beat. But I think the biggest argument against Sea-Gull is the fact that it comes from a place where imitation is nowhere near taboo but simply viewed as an alternative. A level of acceptance is needed to enjoy these pieces, and in my opinion, Sea-Gull welcomes such a challenge with open arms. The same spirit of persistence that launched the brand almost 70 years ago lives on in their designs that is gradually gaining adoption from the West. So don't be surprised if it takes the ever so slightest of pushes for you to own one for yourself. I have a confession to make. I've been eyeing some Sea-Gull models for quite some time now, but I never pulled the trigger. So you may be wondering, why the hesitation? Well, one word explains that: G-Shock. Every time that I look for an affordable brand, or any micro brand for that matter, G-Shock comes in and releases a collection that will entice me to buy instead. Because G-Shock apparently owns my credit card, but to many of you who are not slaves to G-Shock or other brands for that matter, the Sea-Gull mechanical chronograph sports mechanical chronograph might just be the one to win you over, because it really is the best that Sea-Gull has to offer in its collection. Try it out.